A guy bought this car sight unseen from an estate sale, and of course it doesn't run and hasn't for over a decade. I'm gonna try to get this thing fired back up and attempt to drive it 500 miles back home. Now, above and beyond the normal challenges of doing something like that, this has a 1-year only engine, the infamous fuel injected modulated displacement V8, V6, V4. Whatever that means. There's a lot of stuff under the hood, apparently. I've never even seen one, have absolutely no idea how to work on it. And the cherry on the top is I'm clearly not in my barn. I have a limited amount of time to do this. Everything is gonna be fine. No. Send help. So like I said, I'm not in a guy's regular digs. O'Reilly Auto Parts actually invited me out to the corporate headquarters, so I immediately bought some cheap stuff and slammed it in their studio. This is where they do all of their stuff. So hey, we've got some tools and some things to try to make this work. So before we tear into this car, I'll give you a little bit of history on it. Like I said, I got it from an estate sale. I paid $1,800 for this car, and just glancing at it, I think I got a fairly good deal if we can get it running, essentially. Now, I was told it was running when it was parked, but I do know the fuel tank is missing, so that's obviously not the case. We're gonna need to investigate the fuel system. Now, on this engine here, early 80s, it's kind of the pinnacle of the gas crisis and fuel mileage wars and all of that. And Cadillac said, hold my cold snack. And they came up with this Terminator broccoli injected engine here. Has this modulated displacement system on it. Basically, there's a computer and a bunch of beep boops and doodabs that shut off cylinders. And the idea was you'd have a V8 off a stop sign, you'd have V6 kind of around town. And if you're on the highway, you'd only have a V4, and you'd save a lot of fuel mileage. However, it was riddled with problems. Owners were complaining. There was a bunch of service issues. A lot of articles published were not favorable for Cadillac. In fact, it got so bad that they published this letter in July of 1981 to all the current Cadillac owners and said, look, everything is fine. In fact, we're going to give you an extended warranty. You now have 50,000 miles, no questions asked, and it doesn't matter if you're the original owner or the 5th owner, we're going to take care of you. Fast forward 5 months later, this engine disappeared. So apparently it was not okay. Now, I should mention the engine did survive in the Fleetwood all the way up to 1984 in the limousines. I just kind of think they're probably using the surplus engines they had already built, and they were just trying to get rid of them in some form or fashion. So let's go ahead and walk around this thing, see what we're up against, and then obviously we're just gonna have to jump right in because there is gonna be a ton of electrical on this, and that is my favorite. No. Not even remotely close. We got chrome mirrors. A few really neat things. We got a power antenna. This is the badge. 6-4 fuel injection. I don't know. I've honestly never seen one of these before, so that's going to be interesting. This is the only piece of intact bumper plastic in the entire car, so that's rare, I guess. Tires are bad, of course. I think the body is, other than the severe hail damage and someone setting a bunch of stuff on the hood, the body seems to be in really good shape, if I'm being honest. There's not a single bubble in the door. The paint still kind of has a sheen. Again, this was garage kept. Again, the old fella supposedly parked it up and it just sat there. The top's in pretty good shape. The stitching is still intact. The seams aren't split. There you got the coupe de ville. I think these started in 59 and they ended in 04, 05. I'm not sure. I'm not a Cadillac expert, although I have owned a lot. I should know more. No rust. I mean, it is a remarkable specimen. We've got some mold and stuff coming in atop the trim here. Looks like maybe the garage is leaking or something. We have a lot of evidence of moisture there. Bumper filler, delated. Whoa, that was parts of it right there. Pretty common on 80s GM cars, like G bodies, big bodies, car bodies. The plastic stuff just blows out of them. Beautiful bumper, emblems intact, lenses are there. Again, we got some hail damage. Fairly less worser in the back than the hood, but it's definitely there. PDR would take care of that, I think, you know what I mean? Old timer must have not wanted to send it to insurance. This side is a lot of the same, maybe different-ish. I don't know if I'm missing it, but it doesn't look like it has a rear defrost, but maybe it's alien technology or something. A little bit of a paint touch up here that's, well, you can't even tell. A little more moss and mold, but the important thing, no rust or rot that I could see unless maybe it's hidden under here. I don't know the previous owner's name. I'm gonna call him Earl for now. He must have cleaned the ditch out on this side. Looks like barbed wire fence or something. Maybe, yep. We got snagged here, some more paint touch up. So, I don't know, maybe vision was down on the left side a little bit, but man, overall, this car is way too nice for me on the outside, and it is whiter than a Celine Dion concert. I ain't kidding you. This thing is shiny. It's gonna clean up really nice. Now, before we get in the power barn or inside, let's start in the trunk. Who's number 2? I don't know. Oh boy, that's heavy. Oh, there's the fuel tank. That's always a good sign, you know. Oh wow, they just cut the filler neck off. We got an Ridge spare. Look at all the carpeting in here for days. Really good shape, actually. Glue's a little coming apart. Original paint, obviously. Jack sticker still in here. No idea what this does. Think it's just a stopper. Pretend I didn't see that. That's really it for the trunk. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and climb inside this thing. It's thick. Oh. Processing. It smells like a mahogany axe handle wrapped in wet wool socks. It's pungent but manly. It's kind of nice. Look how far forward the seat is. Dude must have been short, or maybe it was grandma. I don't know. Look at all the wood grain in here. It's fake though. Don't let it fool you. 62,874 miles, which means it's outside of our July 1981 warranty. Shoot! Well, that's the way it goes. Headliner is completely gone. We got old school map lights. We got push button radios. Fuel gauge is up here. That's pretty cool. Of course, you got electronic climate control. That'll work fine. Nope. That's not going to work. We got the miles per gallon sentinel thing over here. And there's a button that says active cylinders. And I think that's probably going to tell us how many cylinders are firing at any given time. I hope that still works because it's probably going to aid us in troubleshooting at some point. If the mice haven't eaten everything. It's got cruise control, of course. Should have, oh yeah. That's pretty sweet. I mean, she's loaded up. I'm gonna say based on the pedals, the seats are beautiful. Armrests are great. Pole handle isn't junked out. This is legitimately a 62,000 mile car. It's too nice for me. This is way too nice. This is one of the lower mile cars I think we've ever picked up, to be honest. How do you move the seat? Oh, it's over here. There we go. 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 There got no battery. Let's jump in the back seat. Big old map pockets. It's in my soul. I'm back. Here's the hubcaps. They're in really good shape, actually. And I am counting 4. Back seats have never even been sat in. Never been smoked in. Look at this, days of luxury. Oh, that's probably lit one smoke before. Unless that's water damage. Had your own lighter, ashtray, everything in the back. I think somewhere around these years they had the automatic seatbelt option. It was like 150 bucks. Remember those track things? You'd shut the door and then it would choke you and then you couldn't move until you opened the door again. I think Honda Preludes were famous for trapping people in cars with those. Probably wrong, but write it down still. But anyway, beautiful interior, smells terrible, fully loaded, gas tank in the trunk. Let me come over to that side. We'll open up the glove compartment, see if there's anything of interest in there, and then we're gonna get under the hood. It's cool to see, like, they still had all those little details in Cadillac. They always tried to go just a titch above. Boop, 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 boop. Hello? No one home. Anyway. Well, that was pretty lackluster. I guess in a state sale, I'm sure they cleaned everything out of here. Nothing. Oh, he was a smoker. That thing is full. They got big map pockets down here. Anyway, let's get under the hood. I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I have no idea what's going on. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go again. I don't understand. There is so many hoses and pipes and braces and solenoids and doodads and pumps and things. Okay, right here, look at this. So that looks like some sort of digital connector. There's some over here too. Straight into the valve cover, and that must be the electronic mechanism that adjusts the rocker arm or the valve essentially. And that's going to be the modulated displacement system. I'm assuming that's hooked to a computer that's probably monitoring manifold vacuum, throttle position, speed to determine that. And allegedly, Cadillac tested this 500,000 miles in the engineering department, but I don't know, someone didn't file their TPS reports correctly or something, because this was marked as a disaster essentially. But man, it looks complete. It really does. I mean, the AC is still on it. Every single belt is on. I thought this was the smog pump. Apparently not, because there's an air pump down here. There's 59 pulleys on this thing. I don't see any mouse damage. I mean, initially. Usually these these would all be eaten up. They're slightly crispy. They're more of a medium well rather than well done. It's got coolant in it. That's a good sign. You never know if these get froze. It's plumb full. Let's check the Earl while we're here. Mazel. Oh, looks pretty fresh. About a quart down. Conventional 1030. I don't smell or taste any gas or antifreeze or anything like that. It's always risky when you fire these up. You don't know if the head gaskets are going to hang in there. Anything like that. Spark plugs look terrible to replace, so we probably ain't putting any sparkulators in this. We'll just pretend they're good, especially that side. How do you... Wow. Why? My thoughts exactly. Okay, let's take a look under here. Last oil change, 207 12, maybe 12 years ago. Livingston, Tennessee. Never see that again. Found it, seeing it again. Oh wow, this has had a ton of water get in it. That's not good. It's rusted. There it is, Terminator broccoli injection unit. Great. If I can even get this out of here. It's got so many pipes on it. Remember where all these are going. How do you... There we go. So this guy is the earliest form of fuel injection, and it was amazing. No. It's still somewhat pliable. We might be able to work on it. But look at all these sensors. Sensor, 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 sensor. Something unplugged that should have been a sensor. Another one over here. This thing that's got wires and springs hanging out that goes to these things. This, look at this. Why is that happening? And then there's another sensor hooked to this thing that's supposed to be the cruise control box to this sensor. This was a terrible idea. Why didn't we get an 80? They were carbureted. You know what I mean? You just throw some fire, make it down the fire, make it happen there, and you go home. All right, we got to get a parts list together. We're going to need a battery. Going to have to find a voltmeter. Probably a test light. I don't even know where to start. Put a battery in it, see if the dash lights up. We should probably crawl under the back, which I'm assuming the fuel tank was in the, had the pump in the fuel tank, in the pumper. See if that has power. And then I'm trying to make a plan and I'm struggling. We just need a battery. We need a battery. I'm gonna make a parts and to-do list here. Obviously we need a battery. I'm gonna get oil and filter. Some of this, excuse me, ribs. That's what I had for breakfast. If we don't use it, I'm just gonna return it. Like for example, if the engine's locked up, we're not gonna need oil and filter. Oil in here is pretty good. We could probably run it on that for a bit, but we're gonna grab it anyway. We need brake fluid. Not going to touch them until we get ready to leave. Probably going to need, we're going to need a trans rebuild kit. We better get some sparkulators. Just in case I'm feeling really optimistic. Air filter. Little trees. Coolant's topped off. We should see if we got any belts, just in case it barks off. There's 59 of them. Just give me the pump and the charging whirler. You know what I mean? That's probably all we really need. Oh, I did have tires shipped here ahead of me. They're somewhere. But I should probably call around for a tire shop, just in case. Well, either and or, this has got to go on a trailer or be towed or something. So we're going to have to figure out tires at some point. Let's run down and get all this stuff. And then I think we'll start in the back figuring out fuel. Maybe we'll even just dump something down the Yap. Let's get some true fuel. See if this thing even barks off. If we don't have ignition, that's going to be something. Well, we're back with parts. This should be everything we need to do basic tune-up. We got all the filters, oils, snake oils, got some miscellaneous hose clamps, things like that. Even did find a rebuild kit for the transmission, just in case. Now, if we don't need any of this, or we don't use any of this, we'll just take it back. So now that we have all this stuff here, I think where I'm actually going to start is with the old fuel tank. I want to pull that back out of the trunk, pull it apart and see if the pump is actually in the tank or if it's somewhere on the frame. I have no idea. So we're gonna start there. We gotta get fuel up to this engine. I need to see if I gotta order some parts or find parts or something. The springs don't work on this anymore. Oh yeah, so this was cut. That one was taken off, that one was cut. This is probably the fuel feed line. So that's gonna be an issue underneath sender. This could be fuel pump power actually. So there's a good chance the pump's in here. Let's get this lock ring off, pull this assembly out, see what we got going on in there. There we go. Oh yeah, we got pumpage. Oh, look at that. Well, it did sit with, well, pretty much empty for years. I'm sure they drained the tank when they pulled this. Now, does this pump work? Can we salvage it? Or can I get new? It's grounded to the device itself, and this is the hot. So maybe I could find a jump pack or something around here. We'll see if this pump even does anything. Most likely I'll be able to find the pump. This is the original, made in good old USA. But this housing, and this doesn't help us either. I don't know. This is a dang car battery in here. Easy. Faster but easier. Oh, this pack is dead. Let me find a different one. Okay. Should just be grounded with that. This one doesn't have an on switch. It should just be hot. Thought I heard something a second. Oh, no. Pump is dead. So, it's either just coincidence, or it went bad sitting this long, or this is why I was parked. Someone just started putting a fuel pump in it and just never finished it. They also clearly struggled getting the tank out because they cut everything. So that's pretty good. So need a tank, need a fuel pump, probably gonna need the strainer holder upper assembly thing as well. I don't know that we're gonna get that immediately. Why don't we go back up front, throw a battery in it, turn the key on, see if the computer turns on, all the gauges and stuff work, see if we can get the engine to rotate. We could start testing the throttle body, and we'll maybe even throw some sort of fire maker down the app and see if the thing even barks off and makes any noise before we start searching for parts and investing a bunch of money in it. Need a special battery for modulated compression engines. No. This one's got a go handle and the proper side posts over here. By the way, update on parts. We have like 47 massive DC hub warehouse things right here. Got a tank, it's back here already, and the fuel pump assembly will be here in a handful of hours, so that's fantastic news. If it's not correct and we need to, I could probably cobble something together. We just need 8 to 12 PSI in a bucket and we can make it work. Yep. Installed. Hook up the positive first, then the SAD cable. Maybe. Boy, I do not like these side posts. Okay, fire test. Nothing happened, not a single noise. No hood light. Nothing. DOA. Well, that's good, I guess. I don't even know how to tell if this one is on fire. There's so many wires, where do you look? It's like if you were to pop the hood on the Apollo 11, is what I'm looking at. Nothing's happening. I don't know. Let's go jam the key in it, roll it forward, and see what happens in the dash area. Where did I put the ignition sticks? Oh, wow. You got like a trash can size dome light over here, just to make sure you don't miss the interior by Fleetwood, body by Fisher, sill. First things first, this seat's got a... Ah, you know what that sound is? That's good old plastic GM seat gears doing absolutely nothing. How am I going to drive this with my knees through the grill? I don't know, we'll figure that out later. Okay, key on. Oh, all sorts of lights. Check the engine, no charge. Stop engine oil pressure. I believe that was a bat light. Climate is on 75. Let me rotate it again because I saw something over here. No, I just made it up in my brain. There's nothing. Come on, no radio? It's for sale. I have to sell it at this point. Headlights work. Tail lights work. Right blinker's in a wheelchair, left one is paralyzed. That ain't doing nothing. Horn toots. I mean, we're making progress. Now, I suppose we should figure out if we have power to the fuel pump in the back, because there should be a wire dangling at this juncture. And there should probably be most GM throttle body stuff. I like when you push the key in, it says stop engine temp, but if you let go, it stops. That's how you know the electronics are really reliable in this particular vehicle. Anyway, we need to see if we have a fuel pump primed. There should be 12 volt on key on temporarily, probably 3 seconds to prime the pump for the Terminator broccoli injection. Let's start there. Tried it with butter and it changed everything. I'm gonna go ahead and jack the rear up, get the tires dangling up on some jack stands. I have a feeling I'm gonna be laying under the back end of this car for a long time. Anyway, so we got a rope. What is this pipe? Oh, that might be what's left of the exhaust actually. I don't understand. There's some tank straps that are like bent, hanging off. Got a 10 bolt rear back here. Oh yeah, there's all the cut fuel lines. Okay, I got precisely 1, 2 on the mark out over there. Yep. Trunk floor is in nice shape. Gotta be honest. Death test. Seems fine. Got drum brakes. There's a fuel tank missing. Where did that wire go? Oh yeah, I think the tailpipe used to come. Oh, I see, they tied it up. This broken part It used to go here and then probably over, something like that, but they just swung it over and used some rope. That's approved. Would have done the same thing. Okay. This must be the feed. I need to mark this stuff because I don't want to try to discern what's what again. The floors are in great shape. Giant catalytic converter. It's like the size of a suitcase. That'll be plugged. I wonder if this is like G-bodies and there's a plug. Yep, right here. So this will be ground. One of these is fuel pump. One of them is the sending unit. I believe this pink is probably the sending unit because it's a smaller gauge. So I can try to figure that out with a meter or a light. So I think we'll try to use the ground that's in the connector because that's got to work, right? And then I've got my test light hooked to another alligator clip, and we're going to go to green first because I just got a hunch. Yeah, I could get a schematicals, but I can't read them. Okay? Push that in there. Bend this in here. Snap this off. Now, I'm going to go turn the key, and this should come on green. Maybe red. Just tell me if a color comes on. Well, what did it do? Yeah, okay, so it comes on and then it shuts off. That's exactly what we want. That's the fuel pump prime. So you roll the key forward, builds fuel pressure, so when you crank it, that Terminator broccoli injection, boom, just starts ripping all 190 horse or whatever this had. Okay, so now we know the wiring is good back to the pump, the ground is good back to the pump, and most importantly, the ECU, PCM, ECB, R2, DY, Obi-Wan Kenobi, boop, 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 Wally box seems to understand still that the car needs to run, is what I'm saying. So all we need to do now is go ahead and strip out these old straps, and then we'll get new straps in. Those are coming as well. Looks like they just didn't really understand how to get them out. They cut everything. That way this is pretty well prepped. Then I think we go throw something flammable down the wobble and just see if this makes noise. Because I'm pretty excited for that. Yep. I can't see nothing. Boy, this has got some distance on her. Get out of here. Yeah. Good enough for me. Well, what? Is this not? Oh, they tricked me. Ooh, that's really hot. Probably 250 degrees. It's burning my fingers. Okay. Oh. Third rule of being a dad, you gotta learn how to dad sneeze. That's not working. Okay. Oh, dear God. Back with the big dog and no ear protection. I almost lost my face. You would think I would learn the first time. Ow. Okay, straps are out. That was super easy. Hardware acquired. Yep. All right. So here's the thing. We're still waiting on a fuel pump, but there are some things that we can test before we even install it anyway. Number 3, does the engine even rotate? But this thing's got more junk than Shakira's got in the trunk as far as accessories in the front. There ain't no way that I'm getting a wrench on it, so I think we're just gonna twirl the key and see if it does it that way and just hope that we don't break anything. Then we could see if it had fuel delivery, would the TBI or the injectors actually inject fuel? Then we can throw something flammable down it and see if it actually fires. So we're testing engine rotation, will it actually disperse fuel, and then do we actually have ignition or something to light the fuel? So, keys are in it. Park. Whoa, it did not want to rotate at first. Now it's rotating. Man, I was really nervous there. It was like, brrr. I thought it was going to be locked. That's normally why I don't do it this way. I like to rotate it a couple times by hand when these sit so long like that. It's really tight. It's already worn this brand new battery down. So that's pretty good, and I have no way to tell if it's building oil pressure. So we're going to pin that up and say that's good. Now, let's jump under the hood, and I'm going to show you a really easy, cheap way to tell if your fuel injectors are firing. Oh, I broke the blinker stick off. So we've got a Terminator Broccoli injection system here. There's 2 different fuel injectors that basically spray fuel into a throttle body, and their powers combined atomize fuel and thus combust. We need to test those injectors and make sure they're actually injecting and doing injector things. Otherwise, we have to try to rebuild this, or I don't know, run a garden hose from a bucket from the back seat or something. I've got a 9-volt battery here, and what I usually do is pop a connector off, like so. And we can see 2 varnished, rusty, wet from water pins right here. I'm going to take this battery and I'm going to try to fire this injector. This should be enough juice to make this click. It's just a solenoid. Click, 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 click. And then we know this setup is going to work essentially. I'm getting nothing. It's sparking, but I'm not hearing a prominent click. That's not good so far. Okay. 8.58 voltages. Why am I getting a clicky? I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. Now what do we do? Sleep, cry, go to bed, rebuilding, injectors, rebuilding. I mean, that's pretty much a full rebuild kit. Well, this has worked successfully multiple times in the past. But for whatever reason, let me try the other battery. Maybe it's got more juice. Okay, this one's 10.2 volts. Nothing. 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 I think they're stuck. Do I even dare start taking that apart? That is the question of the day. Do we even have a rebuild kit? So a guy's going to take the top part of this off and look inside of here and see what we see. There should be things and mechanical application devices and whatnots. What I'm thinking is these are froze up. The tops are full of water. It's apparent that they've been basked in some sort of H2O. That could be just rusted or froze. And I'm trying to avoid having to track down one of these units because that's not going to be easy nor cheap. So we'll see if I can take this top off, ruin the gasket, scramble to try to make another one, and eventually just use RTV, put it back on, and pretend nothing happened. Ooh. Hear that? There's like pressure being released. Has this been holding pressure this whole time? How? Oh, I smell varnish big time. Yep, gasket broke. So that's probably really good with fuel injection. Oh no. Look at this, red. I don't know if someone put a bunch of like Marvel Mystery Oil or Stay-Bil or something, but it's full of something. I feel like this should remove the mothership from whatever base station we have here, but not quite sure. So much varnish and rust and other junk. What did that do? Did that do anything? Okay, well, there's one injector. Broken seal. It's fine. Doesn't seem important. And another broken gasket. So now we have no turning back from our what in the world are we looking at scenario here. At minimum, we need a TBI repair kit. And I am a fuel injection expert. Pro. So everything should be, everything's fine. It is definitely not firing though. I don't feel like mistakes were made because this one will worked anyway. She's locked up. Now it's firing. Oh, this is the Yep, this pin thing was stuck. Now it's not sticked. Let me get some PB blaster or something. Just cleaning it in the parts cleaner. And then there's this little thing here. See, now it's moving. I was not doing that before. And then while it's flammable, we're going to add electricity. I think I got to put that pin back in. See? Now it's clicking fine. So, if you ever want to rebuild a TBI injector, take out the screw thing, jam a Phillips screwdriver in it forcefully a couple times, soak it down with some brake cleaner, say a few choice words, your selection, and then she's ready to spray. Downside is now I don't have a gasket or the correct rubber O-ring, so everything's going to leak. So I think I'll go ahead and destroy the other side of the TBI, getting the other injector out, free that up, and then at least our injectors are ready. We'll just have to hunt down a gasket kit. I'm happy at least that it's not that much different than a fuel make it happener where you just rattle a Leatherman off the side of it and go fixed, and then it works, because that's basically all that happened here. There's apparently an O-ring that goes down in there somewhere. Remind me to put that back. Okay. Don't have one. Perfect. Makes no sense. This one's snappier. It's like the younger tool or something. Oh, this one's coming around. I wonder if I could soak these. Would that hurt them? Probably not. Let's do that. Too small. Derek's injector service, 0 guarantee. So we're just gonna give it a shot at B12, of course. Yeah. Gonna let those just kind of cook, self-clean, and we'll come back to them later. Well, the guy was able to find what I think is going to be the rebuild kit we need for this Terminator broccoli injection system here. Specifically, now that I broke the seal, I can't return it. This little guy right here, I actually took this into the parts store itself, and that is a match. So that's good news. Also, just glancing in this kit, I saw these little strainers or filters. Apparently those can be replaced, and I'm going to go through all these other parts here and just see what I can fix. Like obviously this piece here, this diaphragm, is going to go in here. So I'm going to doll up what I can without taking the whole unit off the intake, because we do things halfway around here and that's good enough. Okay. Now I'm trying to get the old O-rings out of here. There's one. And I'm going to put the new ones in, and by putting in, I mean by dropping it into the throttle body, so then I just have to take the throttle body out anyway. These are the new ones here that I need to try to slide in there. First I got to try to get this gasket off without dropping any of that in. Unlikely. Very. Where'd my knife go? I'm back. Okay. Easy. let's just get rid of that. Easy. Ooh, oh, ah. Oh. Okay, everything's fine. Here's another O-ring. Here's the other one. Oh, that's a metal disc. Does the metal disc go down before the O-ring? Oh no. Look, I'm just fumbling my way through this. We're learning as we go, okay? Oh no, here's a big thing. What does that do? Okay, I gotta find squish big thing, metal O-ring thingies. Then we can start putting it together. How do I get seatage without rippage? I think I'm doing it. This is just as fun and easy as swapping out carb jets. No, not even close. Okay, that one's in. Okay, sure. I think I'm touching something. I don't really know what this is supposed to do. Oh, too far over here. Bring it back. There we go. Oh, too far. Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down some more. Bring it up. Too far. Well, let's just give it the pinky. Oh, it worked. It worked really good, actually. Okay. Then, O-ring doodabber fits. Another metal, it's like Shrek's wedding ring. Almost fits me, basically. Then, we're gonna ignore all of this stuff. That's advanced level. It's too much. Put that over there. Do these go in first or after? I think this probably goes in first. Like that, and then this slides down after. Yeah, I'm not ready for that commitment yet though. Okay. There we go. I feel like I should probably lube this top ring just a tickle, because we're going to be forcing this injector into there. Oh yeah, see? She slid right down in there. Okay, then this thing over that. Okay, I think this goes on here. Where does it go between? It doesn't make sense how to go between. Just have around. Oh, we're miles off. None of this is making sense. Okay, let me reevaluate this situation. This is not going as planned. Do these then just give me a Holley 600? That's all I'm asking. Does this then go around this? Is this an easier way to do it? Let's try it. It's got a little tang, and this has to go into the little thing. I don't know if it's for polarity or what the deal is, but that's a thing. And then this one is opposite. Look at that. Now gasketage. Then alien jukebox. Still not right. Something is not right still.
positive engagement. Okay. This one goes this way. Okay. That seemed very wrong, but right. That's on. Now the weird thing that should have a different gasket. We have landed. Eagle has landed. This is super simple, guys. I highly recommend doing this at home. Lickety split. Just boom, rebuild. No, never. Don't ever, just don't do that. I feel like we have a solid understanding of not understanding how this unit works at this juncture. So that's pretty good. Any day you can learn something is a really good day. Basically what we learned was don't stop taking these apart. Don't do that. Also, you could avoid taking these apart by just taking the Allen thing out and just jamming a screwdriver in there with some brake clean, and it rebuilds them. And then you can avoid all of this stuff that I'm doing. Cross thread's better than no thread, especially with aluminum fuel injection devices. There's a lot of engine paint left on this thing. Another indication it's pretty low miles. Just saying. Bend this back around to there. Boom! Rebuilt.
So we're going to go ahead and pretend that we just rebuilt the TBI on this, and when it's a problem in the future, we're going to deny ever touching it, essentially. I think what I'm going to do at this point, we're still waiting on the fuel pump and all that stuff in the rear of the car, but I need to hear this thing fire and run, or at least attempt to make noise. Make sure that it's not knocking, make sure that it attempts to build oil pressure, and that it's just going to run. The ignition works, all of that stuff, because it's all computer controlled on this particular engine. I'm just going to dump some of this True Fuel, never lies to me. It's 92 octane, it's got a little bit of 2-cycle oil in it. It's just easier for these old engines that haven't run in a long time to have a little bit of lubrication to help them along. And in theory, I should be able to dump some of this in, twist the key, and it should at least attempt to run, even though the injectors aren't firing because we're manually forcing fuel. This seems like way too much. Like this should be good. That's a lot. That's a lot of fuel. Okay. Notice I doused the electronics as well. Okay, yep, that's fine. It is worth noting too, I threw the battery up on the battery boiler. That's how every good project starts. You just gotta hear it sizzling, get that acid in your nose. You know what I mean? Okay. With any luck, this should at least sputter or do something. Try. It's running. It's not knocking, it's still running. Why is it still running? That was pretty good. Okay, it runs, it didn't knock. The muffler sounds weird, it's probably plugged or something. But the valve train sounded good. I don't know what's inside of them. But I wasn't hearing clicking or clacking. It idled pretty decent. Man, we might have a chance. Actually, it smells terrible. I'm gonna put a little bit more in. Let's try that again. I just wanna bask in a moment before we just completely ruin our day working on this. I gotta remember how much I flooded it before because it seemed to be the right mixture. That's a lot. I think it was like that. Yeah, it's floating on the butterflies, so that's pretty good. And then I think the leaking of the butterflies lets just enough drip. I wish we had more lights. Well, here's an oil pressure light. Let's watch that. It goes off. Is that the starter sticking or is that the...
there's a really weird, I don't know if that's a muffler or what that is. It's not charging. Check engine light's on, obviously, because it doesn't know what's happening. But the oil pressure light went off, which means we are absolutely in business. So found our weird noise issue. The muffler is not muffling very good. In fact, it's absolutely packed solid. So I think I'm going to do the right thing and just snip it off right here. Every Cadillac needs to be straight piped, right? Sure. Okay. And it's not going to run like this anyway because it's not going to let the compression out, right? So we'll snip it here, get this old thing out, clean this up. And then I don't know what we're going to do. We're still waiting on a fuel pump and stuff like that. Sit around, I guess. Okay. Safety squints. Oh, wow. Oh, man, it's hoping for 8 seconds. It's bucking. Wow. I'm just trying not to cut the drive shaft out of it. I gotta see where it's hooked in. Even the tailpipe was full. What's weird is the mice weren't in this car, so there must have been another car next to it.
Still in the tailpipe.
That tailpipe?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go right here and get some rust in our eye. Objective complete. Come over here and repeat. Oh, terrible! Okay. We're loose on the hangerage. Now, I really need a sawzall. It's like Arnold back at Gold's Gym. The old muffler press. Just breathe it all in. You can't fight it. Gotta fight it. Oh, is this a 17846 turbo muffler? It is. Anyway. I just can't believe this. Oh. So anyway, it's straight pipe now, so the muffler won't be an issue. That's good. That's real good. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. There's so much mouse nest in my mouth. I can feel it in my teeth. It seems like the smell got worse. Got in my esophagus. It's fine. Okay. Okay. Anytime you have a vehicle straight piped, you have to run it. We got the muffler free. That was a super simple process. Just a little slit and come right down. Let's try it now. See what it sounds like. There's still something wrong. What is that? It's got a turbo 400. I wonder if the cat's plugged too, because that does not sound appropriate at all. There's also a bunch of stuff leaking out of the end of the cat. One would suspect, being the muffler was slightly plugged, the cat may be too. And it also has a very pungent smell, which someone also said likely smelled like Subway slightly. Like an Italian BMT or something. Something's wrong. We'll ignore it. So here's the plan. Don't have one. Here's the idea. I think, oh yeah, that's not normal. This thing is plugged solid with rust, mouse house, everything else, just as the muffler was. Found this laying on the bench. Gonna give her a rip. Actually, it looks like the first cut ever. So, see how it does. Why? What's wrong with you now? We have a failure to communicate. I'm fed up. I'm fed. I don't understand. This is how you replace cats. It's not working. I think this is hitting that. Is this my problem? Are you my problem right now? Huh? I just need you to come off right here. Oh, you bugger. Okay. Oh, this again. Oh, great. That was really easy. I had to just do the clamp and get it out of there. The good news is I could take that to a scrapyard and get about 260 bucks. So everything's fine. And it is definitely packed. I mean, no exaggeration. That's probably 50 pounds, 55 pounds. in that sucker. So now, let's try it again. Let's see what it sounds like more straight piped than previously piped. Okay. I got a mouse rib bone on my teeth. Okay. Now that it's demo derbied, let's go ahead and fire it up again. I might run out under the hood. I got like a mouse hip bone in my eyeball. And try to pepper some fuel on this thing and just see if I can keep it idling and see if there's any more coming out. Because at this point, it's basically open manifold. You know what I mean? Okay, here we go. That's much better. Sounds pretty good. Yes. All right, it's definitely building oil pressure. It definitely has compression. We've got it freed up. It's actually getting exhaust out. That's great news. Now all we have to do is figure out fuel delivery, and are the injectors that we just rebuilt going to inject fuel? Or are we going to do a garden hose method? Don't forget, we have a windshield washer pump that we could inject fuel with, so everything is fine. We'll figure it out. It's only 500 miles. We've got new parts. We've got a new whole assembly here. This is the old one, obviously. This is the new guy. Obviously, it looks much better. And then we went ahead and splurged on a new tank, and this one's got an updated baffle in it. That was known as one of the issues with these cars being TBI. Go around corners, you get fuel slosh, you lose fuel pressure, you lose power, so on. So I should be able to slide this in. Came with the O-ring, the lock ring. We've got feed, return, evap. I do have to climb under the car and put new rubber lines in. Remember, this one was snipped or bent off or whatever this caveman stuff is. I mean, I probably did that actually. I just don't remember when. But anyway, get all the rubber lines prepped so we can just bench press this in, hook all the lines up super quick, and then put the straps on with our feet. We should be good to go. One thing worth mentioning, I thought this might come with a electrical pigtail to connect to our 3-pin connector that's hanging off of the bumper. It did not. So we're gonna have to figure out how to wire from the car's ECU essentially into this particular unit, fuel sending level and power. It grounds to this itself. Maybe we could find a 3-pin over in the Dorman section or something like that. We'll just have to wait and see what we find. So it's actually the following morning. Last night we worked pretty late, kind of past the insurance allowed, essentially. We were very politely asked if we could shut her down for the night. Before we left, we went ahead and busted off the tires and wheels, called all around Springfield, Missouri, finally found a shop that we could at least drop them off late last night. They'll be done sometime today. But if you're questioning the originality or the 60,000 miles in this car, check this out. This is really cool. This side still has the barcodes from assembly on the drum, which tells me this is all original. And the other side has paint markings. I'm assuming it's something when it was going down the assembly line, Bob would boop, looks good, and Susie went beep, yep, seems fine. So that's really cool. And we also know that we have no rear brake shoes left, so we'll ignore that. Now, I'm gonna prep this tank. We got quite a bit of work to do here. I want to have this completely ready, so I only have to chest press this 14 times into the car. So I'm going to get all the fuel lines hanging off excessively long because I can reach the other side, not this side, once it's pressed up. And then I need to make all my electrical connections and basically make a 3-pin connector like this. This weather pack unfortunately doesn't fit the original GM, so I'm going to convert the car to this male and female here. So I'm going to cut the one on the car, put one of these on, then make up a harness essentially. So if we ever have to service this in the future, we could just unplug it, plug it back in. So I'm going to get all this set up. Then we have to clean the fuel lines. Then we can finally drop this back in. Well, the tank is officially prepped. We've got our electrical connector all made up here. Should be able to plug this right into the car connector, and the pump, sending unit, all of that hopefully works. Speaking of sending unit, I didn't have the original weather sending unit. It looks like a little bulb that slides over this and grabs onto this. This is actually a Ford style terminal connector, and I just pinched it down with the plier, squeezed that on. Hopefully that works for us. Got all of our fuel lines made up, also labeled these, so when I'm upside down with rust falling into my mouth and retinas, I could figure out which one is which. But essentially you can see now what I was talking about. We should be able to lift this in the car, strap it in, and then figure out our connections later. Speaking of connections, I'm gonna go up to the front of the vehicle, figure out which one of the 72 pipes and hoses going into the TBI is the fuel inlet and return. I'm going to try to break those free, and I'm going to run at least 419 gallons of carb cleaner or some other fluids through those lines and try to flush those out before we plug in this new pump, because I don't want to send a bunch of rust and varnish into the TBI we just cleaned or return it back into the new tank and pickup sock. This is going to be fun. No, it's not. Yeah, see, it's trying to bend the whole pipe. I can't do that. It's like a brake line where you try to move the fitting, but the fitting rolls the whole line, and what's going to end up happening is you're just going to break that line off. Then we're on a slippery slopes. It's not good, is what I'm saying. So, I guess we just risk it? Is that the saying? Why is there so many hoses and pipes in this? Where's that one go? Where's that one? That one's disconnected. Is that a vacuum leak then? No, that comes over here. That's the fuel tank vent. I don't know. Let's just go to the back of the car because I feel more comfortable in understanding what is there, like a shock and a fuel tank. Continue to ignore that. Okay. Back on fuel tankage. Guy figures as soon as we can get this in, the better. I should test my connector first. I should test this. So I'm gonna go turn the key on, and we should hear this pump run for just a second. That's gonna be the fuel pump prime. Oh, please. Yes! I could hear it way up here. We are golden like an eagle with 4 wings. I don't know why he has 4 wings, but. Yeah. Safety squints! Okay. Okay. Oh, those seem to be violently pinched in there. Well, that's pretty good. Connector is still connected. Boy, How to lift all that slack. Now I just gotta route some lines around. Ain't nothing like a good old-fashioned trouble light. Start with the feed, I guess. One piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. Oh, I don't have any of my tools that I need. Well, it's the moment of truth. Well, or false. Yeah. So I got some of Springfield's finest 87 octane. And we're gonna put 10 gallons in this bad boy. We're just gonna see if it fires up. I'm gonna have to turn the key on and off a few times and prime it so we get fuel up to the Terminator broccoli injector. And then hopefully the computers, I don't know how long it's gonna take for it to understand that it's awake again. And this thing just sits here and runs like a sewing machine. Doubtful, very, very doubtful. But that's what we're hoping for, because otherwise we're really in it with sensors and diagnosticals and all that stuff. Checked on the tires, still not ready, but we have a lot of work to do still. We still have to, if it runs and idles, we got to make sure the head gaskets, all the gaskets come around, it's going to stay cool, the thermostat opens, if the transmission even transmits, gears, forward and reverse. There's plenty to do before we have the rubber meet the road. This is very like, mostly water, I think. Key is on and fuel gauge is not working. Perfect. That's the one thing I really wanted. Priming. Maybe it just takes a while to come up on the fuel. No, it just doesn't work. Bring in the thunder! Yes! It's doing it! Come on, computer. It's trying. Oh, it did fire. Come on. Uh-oh. Well, that was short-lived. It did fire on its own, though. The injectors are dripping fuel as we speak. I don't think that's normal. That's definitely not normal. I think the injectors are... I probably ruined them by slamming screwdrivers into them, I'm guessing. Let me turn this on. And I'll hold the throttle open this time, give it some more air. Maybe it's flooded. Is it no longer injecting fuel? I see it dripping, I don't see it spraying. I never got batteries. Or brakes, let's be honest. Oh yeah, stuff is leaking. There's fuel all over the back of this. That can't be normal. Yeah, those are still dripping. I'm not a fuel injection guy, but that doesn't seem right. I think these might be hung up again. Might be like a quadrajet. You just gotta beat on these egg-shaped things. And then maybe up there. And then I feel like if we tighten something, that should help. You know, so like, let's tighten this. That was pretty tight. Let's tighten this up. That's already over torqued. Okay. So that should have fixed it, you know? Yeah, Yeah, it's spraying now. So the injector was hung up because I just saw the cone of fuel. But now I ain't got no battery. We're gonna let it sit and cook for a minute, plan. 300 amp. There we go. We're just blowing breakers now. Okay, I'm gonna take it off of 700 amp and move it back down to 20. Well, I've been really putting the overtime into this battery over here, so I got that set to boil again. While that's cooking up, I'm gonna slide underneath and change this oil. Now this oil looks pretty good. I'd imagine it was changed right when it was parked, and oil doesn't necessarily go bad just sitting. That's not how it works. But just for peace of mind, and I want to put a little bit thicker oil in it and something that's got a bunch of zinc in it, because we're waking this thing up after a long dirt nap, and we're going to put miles on it immediately. I want to have something good in there so we protect this engine. I'm going to slide under, change the filter, drop the oil, see what happens. Hopefully nothing comes out that's other than oil. Yep, a couple chunks there. We do have metal on the drain plug, which I'll find a rag and we'll wipe this on there so you guys can see that. So good news, it was just heavy sludge and no metal whatsoever. So when I pulled the plug immediately, there was some junk in the bottom of that. So it's actually good that it ran a little bit. Hopefully some of this stuff worked its way from the top down and we're getting it mostly flushed-ish, or that's just. This is pretty cool. It's an old school Pennzoil. What? I guess the Pennzoil is staying on. How is that even humanly possible? Yeah, I'm just bending the filter. Filter stuck. I'm just caving it in. I don't want to put a hole in this one, then we're really in trouble. Okay, so we're putting a Pennzoil PZ10 filter in. Boop! That's in. Okay, good. Now we'll just fill it up with fresh oil. Of course, we're going to go with heavy-duty diesel oil, the old T4 1540. It's got all the dinosaurs and vitamins a guy needs. And this old engine is going to love it. Wow! Kevin Costner taught me how to do that. I was in the movie Waterworld, and we changed oils in our vehicles during lunch breaks. None of that happened, actually, but it would have been pretty cool. Well, I think we're ready to try it again. Got some fresh oil in this thing. It's been cooking. Don't have a voltmeter. I don't. Okay, here we go. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. That's what it did last time in it. That is engine locked noise. It really doesn't want to crank. Oh, we got smoke. Something's melty. I wonder if it's the starter. Lots of smoke pouring out down here. Oh boy. Also, oh, it's hydrolocked. Yep, there's gas pouring out of the exhaust. And now the starter is smoked. Everything's fine. You know, it's a factory model. You can get the hydrolock for another $45, you know. Boy, that smells. Really gets in the lungs, right up in the wind bags. Yep, just ruined that plug wire. So that's pretty good, you know. That one came off at least. What is happening? What is this? That's not supposed to happen. These plugs aren't going to come out. There's absolutely no physical way that's going to happen. So like I was saying, oh, maybe. But these are the original plugs. I'll bet you 42 cents. That's what I got in my pocket and a couple of receipts. Yep. See the light green with the big band? These are old school, original sparkulators that were rusted in there. Okay, so I got 4 sparkulators out. Not even going to attempt that other side because I have to take the engine out to get to it. I'm going to disconnect the injectors so it doesn't spray any more fuel. And I'm going to attempt to crank the engine over with the bad starter that lights on fire to try to clear these cylinders. It might be hydrolocking currently. Also, whilst sitting here, the rear brake line exploded and started leaking brake fluid all over the floor, and our building lost water pressure. So I think this car is haunted, is what I'm saying. I like it. I do. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, we found a starter right down the road at the warehouse there. So we're going to disconnect the battery, jump underneath there, try to figure out how to work this starter off because there's 2 exhaust pipes that come into one conveniently right underneath the starter. Won't be able to get it out, going to have to cut the exhaust off the manifolds. Then we'll get that out and replace it. And whilst all of that is happening, I'm going to go ahead and let hopefully the fuel in the cylinders either A, dissipate, or B, work its way into the crankcase. I believe what had happened here is the injectors hung open. And I believe that because when I had the key off, I still saw fuel dripping. So when we were trying to start this, it was just pouring fuel into the engine. And when the battery started running low, it wasn't catching, wasn't firing, and it just filled the cylinders full of fuel. That can't be compressed, and I don't want to force it. We don't want to bend a rod or a valve or something like that. And that overworked our original starter, and here we are, just continually making more work for ourselves. And then I'll put new plugs in. You know, these sparkulators are the original ones. Them ain't gonna work probably very goodish. We gotta repair a lightning hose that I already broke, start putting this back together, and hopefully in another 14 hours, we'll try to start it again. New to me reman starter installed. Super easy. Nope, can't see out of my left eye. It's fine, it's worth it. Now, 2 things are gonna happen when we turn the key. It's either gonna rotate perfectly, all the fuel is dissipated. 4 of the sparkulators are out right now, so it'll sound a little bit goofy, or it's gonna hydrolock again, and because of the new starter strength, it's gonna bend all the rods. So let's try it, let's see what happens. Again, the injectors are unplugged, so it should not put any fuel in there. I have nothing. Which means I have to drop the starter and put the wire on the other side of the starter. Why would they not just be absolutely identical? That's tight. I've got none battery. So like I said, I'm gonna drop the starter again and investigate the wiring. That should be the same as the old starter, and then redo the wiring and then put the new starter back in again. Okay, I got it. Okay, back to where we were before we were back to where we were previously to where we was. Attempting crank again. New battery cable. We got battery lights and stuff. Okay, that's okay, it's firing, it's just burning that old fuel. I think we're good to put in sparkulators now, hook the TBI back up, and then this thing's gonna run like a Swiss watch. No, probably not, but we gotta try. Ouch. If you're ever in a big hurry and you're doing something like this, I just take a marker and put slashes 1 through 4. You don't have to worry about firing order or anything like that, and trying to draw a number on these is hard. So like this one was 3 slashes, then we'll have 2 obviously. That goes here. Makes it really easy and simple to just quickly yank the lightning hoses off. You don't have to worry about precisely where they go. Boom. Now this one we're gonna have to remake though, because I broke it. Okay, to summarize the thesis of the theory, we're going to try to start it again. Okay, here we go. Fuel pump prime. Bringing the thunder. Boy, it's not wanting to fire. I see it priming. I think it's getting way too much fuel again. Oh yeah, it's pouring raw fuel out of the tailpipe. I think the computer is slightly confused as to what an AFR ratio is. If I were to unplug these, it's just flooded. So why is the computer giving it so much juice? I don't know. I don't know yet. It's just full tilt spray. I don't seem right at all. Maybe I need to put smaller jets in it. That's got to be what's going on. Replacing jets, metering rods. Yeah, I can see in here just fuel spraying when it's cranking. It's too much. It's too much, Cadillac. I don't know what to do here. Maybe we should check the windshield washer fluid or something. Need to research why it's not just priming, it's completely dumping. And that might give us some answers. Probably not. Okay. I wonder what happens if well, now I got to clear it out again. Maybe I try to run one injector after I clear it. It doesn't like that. Huh. Run it home on one injector? No. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe. I'm plugging things now. I mean, I don't. Plug 2 of the valve slide rod hammers. Was that the other valve things moving? Did that just start working now? Because I unplugged these two. I heard some crazy shuffling plastic stuff happening. I think maybe the cylinder activation stuff's been messed with. Because none of these lights are coming on, the check engine light's on. And I heard rumor that some dealers would deactivate it, so I don't know. I'm gonna try to get a little heat in the motor. So if there is a temp sensor the computer's trying to read, let the oxygen sensor oxygenate. And other computer things. Yeah, the second I hook up that second injector, it just kills it. Way too much fuel. Why? I just can't believe that we'd have to jerry rig it like this. If it was parked, something's got to be going on here. Like, why is all this wrapped in tinfoil? I don't know. Why does this have duct tape on it? I gotta figure it out quickly. We're running out of time. This isn't even doing anything. Maybe I should just start checking fuses. I didn't hear that weird electric slide over there this time either. I think I found the issue. I swapped the relay, which I don't think did anything other than just visually it appeased me. But I unplugged the throttle position sensor, and now the computer is not thinking. I think that sensor is bad based on how much fuel it was throwing at this thing. Thought it was like 75% throttle or more. Unplugging that, it's now not just dumping fuel because it doesn't have a signal. So the question is, in Springfield, Missouri, out here in the Ozarks, can we find a throttle position sensor for a 1981 Cadillac on a 1-year-old engine? 1 year only. One. Good luck to me. I don't know why, but the valve things are valving non-stop. Why would that happen? Okay. Maybe that's a good thing. Does that mean we're supposed to try to start it now? Still doing Morse code, but at a slower pace. What is going on? Huh. We got typewriters in the engine bay. Do 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 do. No one knows what's going on, but hey. Do 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 do. You could save half a mile per gallon. There it goes again. I can reset the computer by dropping the SAD cable off the battery. It'll fire up and run beautiful, and then the computer says, I think I'm supposed to do something. Bleh! And now it won't restart. Watch. Do you think I could do this all the way home? Get like 100 yards and then reset it? Yeah, I think so too. I wonder what that would be. Oxygen sensor probably. Could be an oxygen sensor. It's trying to figure out AFR. And then it gets a signal and then it says, I'm too lean! Or something. I don't know. Okay, let's see what that does. I really don't know why these didn't last in cars, these TBIs. They're really good. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. I just got to throw a suitcase in the back and we're ready to rock. Are we on fire again? There's smoke coming out of every orifice on the end. I'm gonna unplug these typewriters. So I unplugged my V6 and I unhooked my V4 and I turned on the V8. And it seems to be V8 pretty good. The core is dumping. Got like a bunch of antifreeze leaking on the exhaust, smoking terrible. I don't know if it's in the box or the heater core itself, but I'm going to try to find out. The temperature control stuff isn't working. I'm trying to turn that off. There it goes. Just turned off finally. I might just have to loop the hoses together so it's not sending antifreeze or coolant through the heater core. That ain't working. It's running good right now, but it's at like 2,500 RPM. Does not want to idle down. We still got an issue with the TPS. Yeah, it doesn't change anything. And if I unplug it, all right, so working through some of the stuff here, I kind of had to just break it down to what little experience I have with like Holley Terminator X and stuff like that. And
what components do what to make this thing run, right? Obviously, we've got a computer-controlled air-fuel mixture going on here, and we had an idle racing issue. So it either has a massive vacuum leak somewhere, or the throttle blades were sticking open, which they weren't, potentially a bad throttle position sensor or a bad IAC or intake air control. Now, the TPS, although it wasn't dumping a lot of fuel when I manually controlled it, I started revving this thing, free revving it, and it's not going lean. So it was dumping more fuel as I was revving it. So forgot about that, came back over to the IAC, and I'll show you here in a second, we'll get a close-up. But basically the solenoid is electronically controlled, and it has a little rod that kicks out, and that's the fast idle, and it controls your idle control, basically. And it was just racing. And I noticed that the solenoid was in, meaning it's probably working. It would be used like when the car is cold, you first start it, it idles it up, and then it brings it back down slowly. Well, I noticed there was a bunch of threads showing on that rod, and maybe potentially when this fuel pump was going bad or something, someone was in here fiddling around, and that thing was threaded all the way out. So this thing was idling at 2,500, 3,000 RPM. Anywho's, I slowly backed that in, started the car, made sure it run, let the computer do its thing, backed it in again, just kept repeating that. Now, if we go ahead and fire this up, again, we have the modulated displacement disconnected as well. We have a really nice idle. It starts right up, and we have throttle response. And it catches itself, most importantly, coming off the throttle. We're in pretty good shape right now, although I do have a light on the dash that it's not charging. We've got a huge coolant leak. We've got busted brake lines. I don't have tires, but it runs. Victory, little victories. I'm saying this is going to be long, but it's definitely going to be about 3 inches too short. So, you know, we'll just take all the bends out and just go A to B. The victory was the old fittings actually coming out of the wheel cylinder and the rubber hose at the T. Ah. I always wonder why my electrical testers aren't sharp. Never do a 3/16 line again. Usually your best flare is when the fitting is off, and then you cut it and then you redo it. So this should, so I know it looks just like a factory piece, but I actually made it. Should just right in there. Yeah. Would you look at that? Plugged right in. I'm gonna do this one by feel. Oh, pff, look at this. It's almost like I've done this 74,912 times. Okay, now let's go ahead and test the transmission and see if the go forward, go backwards machine works. I'm gonna fire it back up, test reverse. Back brakes probably won't do anything because I haven't bled them and refused to do so. And then we'll let it come to a stop in neutral and then try drive. And then if it works, I'm probably gonna let it just go ahead and sit here and run and drive for quite a while. Let the rear end lube up. Transmission can transmit things. And I'm gonna look at it for a while and bask in a little bit of glory. Okay, here we go. I didn't forget. Yep, yeah. Don't do that. Oh no. Is this going to be a computer reset again?
this is new. Unexpected. It's doing the not running good thing again. I'm gonna do a computer reset because that, when in doubt, reset it out. I think we're gonna make it home with no issues. Okay. Reverse. Nothing. Neutral. Drive. Nothing. Perfect. Don't. Well, I mean, it barely idles and we got no transmission. So I think we should probably leave in the morning, maximize how far we can get. Hopefully it's just out of fluid. She's low. We're good. Hopefully. Oh, let's see if it's charging. I don't think it is. That should be like 14. Okay, we need a charging whirler. It seems like the list goes like this. Feel like we're at a barn dance. Old days. The accordion's just going. I'll look for shift juice here. There might be some that we can borrow. Otherwise, we're going to have to take another parts store run, order an alternator to get here next week, get some shift juice stuff, and I bypassed the heater core. That's done. Brakes don't seem to be leaking at the moment. We're getting close. We just had a couple final details here. I'm going to go ahead and pour some new clutches in. Put in half a quart of regular juice. Oh no! Because then we could shake it up and it'll actually pour halfway decent. It's not just going to be honey. Rebuilding transmission, new clutches. Computer's going nuts again. I don't know what the deal is. No, it's really weird that they only did this for 1 year. I think they should have hung on to it a little bit longer. There's literally so many hoses, I can't even get the air cleaner on. Gas pouring out into a pile of kitty litter. So anyway, I saw this dart down the road. It's kind of like a goldish color. I wonder if they'd sell it. We're in trouble. Well, while I'm waiting for the computer to figure life out, I'll also go ahead and throw some tires on. These were the absolute cheapest ones that I could find. They're 215, 75, 15, which seem really skinny, but that's what originally came on the car. These are Tornells. Sure, tire shop is in such a hurry, they didn't even wipe the stuff off, so we have blue walls for the time being. Okay. Reliability, luxury. We are Cadillac. I'm plugging these again. Ooh, nothing says luxury like a tin hubcap. Full of grass. No! No! Everything's fine. Where'd my plier go? Why didn't I order an adapter for a carburetor on day one? This is probably why the idle was set at 4,000 RPM, like this. The only way it'll stay running. Wow, it didn't like to have load. It's not running worth a crap. That was cool. I've done that a million times and never has a drum come off. Let's see what the shoes look like. Oh yeah, they're getting pretty thin. We got spiders coming out of here. That looks like a brown recluse actually. I mean, it's good enough. I can't win them. Can't win them all. We were just fixing to put the charger on it for our charger whirler. Run down to the parts store and get one. They have one. But I can't keep this running now for more than 37 seconds. The computer just doesn't have it. Looked into getting adapter kits to go to a fuel make it happener. That ain't gonna happen. There's confusion on what intakes work. That ain't gonna happen. We're in a pickle. I need parts like right now. We're supposed to depart in the morning for everything to work correctly. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. What could it be? Talk to me. Spark? Is it just shutting the spark off? What is in here? Oh, by the way, I checked the connector on the transmission for those of you yelling right now going, you need to cut the wire at the transmission to disconnect DCIFEIO. It's already been disconnected. Oh, yeah, this is soldered together. So that looks really official. Do I just unplug this thing? Can't be. Does it have... It has power. What if I just unplug the whole mess? That didn't seem to do anything. I'm just unplugging things now and then plugging other stuff back in. And then, you know, just trying to change the definition of insanity here, which we're getting close. I mean, let's be honest. Could it be the windshield washer pump? I don't know what that is, but it looks bad. So that's pretty good. Very corroded. All right. We'll ignore that. Definitely not the issue. Ouch! Oh! Let's try it again. Second gear, 38, boom, drive. 55. I noticed if I turn this key just right, I got numbers on the MPG Sentinel when I was starting it. But now I'm not seeing that anymore. There are some massive wiring gremlins in this unit. I ain't kidding you. So, got us a charger whirler. This thing is massive. Downside is I have to disconnect the battery to get this out so I'm not sparking and lighting everything on fire. And we actually let the car run the whole time we went to the parts store and back. And it was still running when we got back, and it was in gear. So that's a big win, but now I'm afraid if I disconnect the battery and we start over again, then, I don't know, maybe we'll just let it run overnight in the parking lot or something. But anyway, gonna rip this out, put this one in, hopefully get this thing charging. This should really be the last thing, other than if I'm, you know, really getting after it. We might actually bleed the rear brakes, but we don't typically have those. It's kind of a convenience. So we'll see. We might be on the road after this. Brakes are bled. I don't think this side is rotated yet. And that's probably why. Just, we'll ignore that. Going down. Nope. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. I am exhausted. Not physically, but mentally. Tomorrow, we're supposed to drive 500 miles home. We'll see you bright and early, and we might just have tannerite. I don't know what's going to happen yet.
See you guys. Well, good morning. The buzzer has sounded. We are out of time. This car has got to leave the studio so we can let O'Reilly get back to their thing. And big thank you to them for letting us just trash this place. It's a mess. Bring a broom or 12. Anyway, whilst not sleeping last night, I started thinking this computer is calling on something 4 to 8 seconds into running, and it doesn't like what it's reading and it shuts off. There's really only one thing left that I haven't considered or touched, and that's the O2 sensor. I was able to get one, this little guy right here. Gonna crawl underneath, and of course it's not easy to reach. It's jammed way up in there on the manifold. Heat that puppy up, put the old breaker bar on it, see if I can get this thing swapped. If it starts, we're not shutting it off. Everything is packed. We're going out that door, which is kind of terrifying because, well, the brake drum has traveled farther than the vehicle itself. This is literally not moved an inch under its own power. That's fine. Okay. Hopefully the fire extinguisher's handy. I can't break this thing out of here. We're really gonna be in trouble if I can't get a new one in. Oh wow, it actually came loose. Heat did it. Oh yeah, it's hot. Ouch. Look at that thing. Running so rich repeatedly. Dumping fuel out the exhaust. Probably didn't help the life of that thing. Okay. And then, where's the plug? Is this it? Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay, O2 is in. Now, we get to see if it's going to want to start today. And what combination to get it running. Jiggle the door lock, move the passenger mirror, unhook one injector, jiggle the key. Then I think I might go. Bring the thunder and make a storm. Nope. It's doing the crazy fuel thing. Oh yeah, she's full spray. Wouldn't this want to press? No. That's got a screw, it's got thread on that end. Is this adjustable? It is. Is that how you adjust your fuel pressure? I don't know. I'm asking you. GM didn't put a fuel pressure tap in line. I think from now on I'm doing nothing but TBI vehicles. Pretty sweet. The technology is just, man. You know who we need right now is Bill Nye the Science Guy. Well, I've adjusted the fuel pressure. I don't remember having changed that at all when we put the new diaphragm in there, but I'm thinking maybe those springs get weak over time. And if this doesn't work, then for whatever reason, the computer thinks it's wide open throttle still at crank. So I am getting lost for words coming out of my mouth. The resolution is a adapter plate and quadrijet, but we just don't have the means currently. Unless that new pump is higher pressure.
I don't know. I never even read it, looked at the side, read the constructions, nothing. But if it's a higher pump pressure, say 25, 30, and this is supposed to be, you know, 12 to 16, it could be blowing through this old spring. Still sprayed fuel. It's just dumping fuel. Why? Well, here we are doing professional diagnostics. This is the service you would get in a Cadillac dealer in 1981. We're using the electronic climate control head unit to try to erase the codes from the computer. And, well, I'll show you. Well, now it's stuck. It won't even exit or do anything. There we go. So if I hold off and warmer, the two little dots is supposed to say something else, but I don't think our thing is working right. Then allegedly if you hit off and high, it's supposed to clear the computer, but it's supposed to go back to 70 if it worked correctly, and it's not doing that. And we're basically summarizing at this point, we've got a bad computer in this car. There's really not much we can do. Come on. Yeah, it just doesn't want to do it. We can fake it. If I put this to like 70 and then enter and then do this, and when it kicks us out, it'll say 70. How long are you supposed to hold this for? Okay. Nothing's happening, I don't think. In short, I'm gonna buy every 81 Cadillac I could find. They're pretty good cars. Fuel spray palooza still. By the way, how I got this working was sprayed a half a can of electronics parts cleaner into it. And it started coming around a little bit. Not really. This doesn't even have an electronic display on the radio. How do you know what's happening? Yeah, we've entrusted our Cadillac to a random guy on a forum from 1998 or something. Could it already just be erased and that's why it's not erasing? Because the erased is already erased? No, I'm going to go with the computer's just bad. I think that's what we got. I believe I could fly. Oh! I believe I can reset the computer in a Coupe de Ville. Woo! Think about it every night and day. Why won't you just erase the codes away? Okay, well, that's not gonna work. Okay, well, it's about that time. Don't worry about that, guys. It's fine. Well, I think this is about where we can just say, hey, we tried. The 1981 Cadillac will in fact run. Ish. Is it going to drive home? It's not. Look, you win some, you lose some. This thing needs a computer and or a carb. I don't know what to do with it. You guys tell me. I really kind of want to just sell it. But if you want to see like a carb swap or something, bleep bloop that down in the comments. We're going to close the hood. Just forget about this thing. Figure out how to get it home. And we'll circle back later. But thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it very much. We'll see you very soon. Boo!